During this lecture, we'll finish with types and project data, project and documents. We already learned how to deal with external data and user fields, and now it's time to check project parameters and documents. Open project parameters. Under the scheduling tab, you can see the first four values are read-only, like they define the project start date, finish date, calculate duration, number of tasks. And the project date 0 is actual project start date, used for progress monitoring, useful to know when creating AV file in Synchro. In order to demonstrate how it works, I will quickly create an animation. Our project 0 is almost coincide with start date. However, if we assume that we have some pre-project activities, such as mobilization, effective start shifts later, and you will see amount of weeks before effective start with a minus sign. We can readjust display settings of the focus time. Let's return everything to its original state. Data date is today when it's set to automatic. You can see this blue dashed line, but we can always change it to manual and set any other date. You can change the scheduling type as soon as possible or as late as possible, along with other options such as schedule from and schedule to. Costs tab lists down both budgeted totals and actual totals for all tasks in the project. But since we don't have any costs assigned to our tasks, this field is blank. For example, let's click over generic 150mm, open task properties, and click over budgeted direct costs. In the empty field, click add. As soon as we added the cost to the task, it came to our project costs. Here we can change its type and amount. We'll talk about costs more in the course of our lectures. But looking ahead, I'd like to say that we can add costs to tasks, resources, assigned to tasks, and risks. Going further, you're free to adjust units and see the latest measurements. To remind you about measurements, you can find it on the 4D review and measure distance. Also, it's good to display snapping, so make a right click and add snapping, enable, and for example, let's measure the height of the wall. It's almost 4 meters, and if we leave a cursor on some point, you can see the point coordinates. From the project latest measurements table, you can click over the measurement and either hide it from your view, or you can delete it. Let's delete it. Now let's figure out how we can use Documents tab. Go to the navigator and activate Documents. At first, document or files can be assigned to tasks as a reference. In order to assign a document, it should be initially added to a folder in Synchro Pro. Now the only visible folder in Synchro is Scripts. It displays script that we created on the previous steps. In order to view it, select it and go to Files. We can view this txt file by double-clicking over its name. This is the formula that we created. Or we can open the Synchro scripter and see the same formula here. Now let's create a new folder. For that, make a right-click over empty space and choose Add. And let's name it Materials. In order to add a few more folders underneath, make a right-click over Materials, select Add. It will be one for concrete, one for timber, and we can go on. For each folder, we can write a description and add files to it. For that, make a right-click over this empty space and select Add Files. This can be either a document from your computer or a document on your cloud or in the drive. Let's select this document and select Open. Now we can provide this document with ID and write a description. Now we're ready. This document can be assigned to our task, resource groups, and 3D objects. In order to assign this document to tasks, first of all change the view mode to the custom and filter the tasks by concrete. Let's assume that for all tasks we use the same type of the concrete. Select only visible tasks on the table, make a right-click over the document, and choose Assign to Selected Tasks. So when we select a task, open Task Properties and Documents. In order to view the document, make a double-click over it, and you can see it. Also, you can assign document to a task from the Documents tab. For that, make a right-click over empty space and select Assign. And from here, we can select any document. In order to extract document or save it to other directory, make a right-click over it, choose Extract, and specify a new folder. And here it is. Besides files, we can add URL and view it from Synchro browser. For that, make a right-click and add external document. Let's name it Concrete Ratio and provide a URL. In order to view it, make a double-click over the URL address, and Synchro will open a web page. Or, as an idea, why wouldn't we create an object, a simple 3D box, and leave it without assignments? And let's create a folder called Site Surveillance. Inside this folder, we'll add links to our online cameras. Over the empty space, make right-click and select Add External Document. Let's name it as East Facade. And provide an URL. Okay, so let's select our object and assign this link to a selected object. Now, if we assume that this is our camera, we can select it, open 3D Properties, Documents, and double-click to open URL. Go to Options and select Live Video. And now you can enjoy watching construction from your cozy office. You can place it next to your 3D view. And if it were a real project here, we could easily compare planned and actual.